Are you happy this morning? Do you like Brooks Koepka?
I think Brooks deserved to win that tournament. I do like Koepka. I've been a little bit in the camp that everyone talking about how Rory and Tiger are working out too much has been the most ridiculous line of conversation. They're athletes. They got to be athletic. And if you look at someone like Rory McIlroy, for example, I heard someone this morning say that Rory's gotten obsessed with working out. Rory's not that big. He's lean and he's strong, but it's a big thing for these guys to get athletic.
Someone said this morning.
I heard this morning that someone was saying, talking about why Rory's not doing well and he's got.
No, I like Rory's size. I think Tiger got a little big when he was walking and his thighs were rubbing against each other, and I do think it's led to some deterioration of ligaments and groins and.
Well, maybe that
but that's the new world we live in.
It's the new world we live in.
The
all
muscle
sports,
car
right?
that goes really fast for a short amount of time and then maybe peters out.
Yeah. Anyway,
the Champions Tour won't be full of Brooks Koepkas.
Probably not. I mean, we don't know that. We don't know the longevity. I mean, and Brooks Koepka's built to be like that. His body frame is built to be this big, but I don't like him because he's big.
What does that mean? What do you mean he's built to be like that? What does that mean?
Well, Rory doesn't have the frame to be as big as Brooks Koepka, right?
Yeah.
If Rory attempted to get as big as Brooks Koepka is, he wouldn't be flexible and it would be a problem. Koepka's got that wide, strong, stout body structure that leans itself into having more muscle mass. And I think that
that's fair.
That's a good example.
Said, what was it before the Players' Championship on the Sunday morning, or one of his events? Maybe it was last year's PGA one. He was bench pressing 250 the morning he played on Sunday. I mean, you got to explain that to me. I'm not a gym rat at all, and you are a little bit, but my muscles hurt after I do my daily push-ups, and if you overdo it, how can a guy bench press like that a couple hours before he tees off?
The answer has to be that's not overdoing it for him. I mean, I know I saw his workout routine earlier this summer, and there's multiple sets of, or multiple, times he does 225 for 10 reps in a set. I mean,
it's nothing for him.
It's not that much for him, right? So if anything, for him, that's his version of activating the muscle. And you're right, if you overdo things, you will get sore. But I mean, when you work out every day, you get into a stream of this is what the body normally feels like.
You know what, Jake? It was a breakout week for proving that fitness is necessary today. It was a breakout week, a coronation, they said, on the Golf Channel for Brooks Koepka. I think it was, right? It was a confirmation. Remember, Brendan Chambly was going at him at the Masters about he hadn't proven himself yet, and now Brooks comes out and does this, and Brandel actually said on Friday night, it felt like he was giving me the finger for 4.5 hours, So this was definitely the validation of the coronation of Brooks Koepka.
I would agree. I mean, until now, we said this before, Koepka was kind of the Padraig Harrington of the States, right? Padraig won 2 British Opens back-to-back in a PGA Championship. Koepka won 2 U.S. Opens back-to-back in a PGA Championship. And it kind of felt like the same thing. They didn't win a bunch of tour majors.
Well, we weren't
in between.
sure there was longevity in it.
And
now
I think this shows us that the guy's here to stay. And I mean, that still might be
very strange that he's won 4 majors and 2 PGA Tour events out of 94.
It is very strange.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on that one, other than the fact that he's, as Nicholas started it all, who focused all his schedules around the majors. Tiger continued that, only playing 16 to 18 events a year. Brooks may take it to another level where, these guys can start to play 12 or 13 times the minimum to be a PGA Tour member. Just play the big events and really get ready for it.
But what's interesting is Brooks Koepka doesn't seem to play few events. I seem to see his name on the leaderboard or his name in events much more than I see some of the other high-end players. I just think that he gets uniquely focused in these events for him. And I also think that his game is, especially if you look at this week, suitable for majors. Right, he hits it long and straight.
Not only focused, Jake, but preps properly. Spends the couple of weeks, like he spent all of last week, the whole week with his putting coach, and getting ready.
Yes,
and
good point.
Anyway, it validated Brooke. It validated fitness. It also, I think, I'm starting to see a separation between kids who just go out there and try to make it and these superstars, because Brooks is there, obviously with his girlfriend and his family, but he's got his entourage. He's got his caddy, he's got his short game coach, he's got his coach, and he's got his chef that travels with him. So when the money is this big and these guys are so rich, They literally have an entire team around them, making it easier for them to win and making it comfortable. They rent a house. There's talk. Some of the guys put their own furniture in the house, and they spend this kind of money. Compare that to some young guy out of college, Corey Connors maybe, who's trying to go out there. And Corey won the Valero Texas Open, so he's a great player. But there's more of an advantage now for the superstars because they can afford to, overturn or turn over every rock that gives them a shot. And we see that, the attention to detail. And again, Tiger and the fitness. But these guys they're looking at the mind, the emotions, the fitness, the nutrition. They've got short game coaches, putting coaches, swing coaches. They have team meetings to discuss strategy. I mean, it's this holistic approach to getting the job done, and we're starting to see those guys continually exceed expectations, or if not, at least be the ones who win the tournaments.
Yeah, except like you said, Corey Connors won in Houston. Max Homa just won toe-to-toe with Rory and won. There's lots of examples of non-big names winning golf tournaments, not the majors. It's been a great
point I just made.
It is a good point, but I don't give as much credence to that as I think.
Well, we'll see as we go forward. Like I said, we've got Rory, Tiger, and Brooks. First 3 tournaments, bing, 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 including the Players' Championship.
I know, but that's mitigating. I mean, you're saying it's because of this advantage, or at least partially. Or how about they're more talented than everybody else? Those 3 are among the most talented people in the game, and they performed at the right time.
Well, absolutely.
This course also had something to do with that. I really like Bethpage Black, but this course was set up to have one of 15 guys win, because if you didn't hit it far enough, you couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at someone.
Matt Kuchar stayed in the top 10, I think, and he was hitting hybrid everywhere. But
sure.
Yes, generally speaking,
there's going to be guys who hit it shorter who had backdoor top 10s and got in there. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but he never had a chance. He played extremely well.
No, he's the king of the backdoor top 10.
So if you look at, I said before that I thought.
I hope he paid his caddy well this week.
Hopefully. It was a regular guy, so I'm sure he did. I picked Dustin Johnson to win because I said, a high, strong, good driver who hits a fade has an advantage on this golf course. And you said, well, why not Rory? Why not Brooks? I said, I just don't feel Rory's quite as suitable, and Brooks is basically the same pick as DJ. Just I feeling DJ this week, and they come 1 and 2.
Yeah, he was working the ball both ways. The top tracer's so cool. Now we get to watch it, and Brooks was working the ball both ways really well. You said earlier, he hits it long and straight. Well, if he hits it long and straight, he'd win every event. He was just on this week. I mean, he on Sunday did not hit it long and straight.
No, he was
the other big advantage those guys have, though, if they hit it in the rough, they're strong enough to get it out. You saw Harold Varner yesterday. Did you see him on 4? He hit it in the cabbage on the left.
I saw it after.
And he tries to muscle it back into play, and it kind of, the grass wrapped around his hosel, and he hooked it deep in the woods, made double, and then doubled the next hole. I think he was double-double.
Well, that validates,
the Tim
like
Hortons,
you said,
double-double.
That's validating the athleticism that a lot of these players are embracing. I mean, I saw at one point Nick Faldo yesterday, Brooks Koepka has a pitching wedge from 150 yards or a 9-iron from 150 yards in the lettuce. And Nick Faldo says, even with his strength, he's not going to be able to get it on it. And Brooks hits it perfect to 20 feet. It's like, Nick, learn from Tiger. You keep saying, these guys keep saying that these guys aren't strong enough to get out of the rough. I've been there before. And they make a easy shot out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're I comprehend how strong Brooks Koepka was, because I've benched 25 before, and the fact that he does it that much, that he is a strong man. He is crazy.
Yeah, he mashes the golf ball. He does it without flexibility. It's interesting. It's a very different swing. Peter Costas yesterday broke down Rory McIlroy's swing and his hip rotation and how much and how quickly he rotates. And I don't know what the number was, but combined, I think backswing and follow-through was like a 60-degree difference between Brooks Koepka. But Brooks is so muscular.
Yeah.
He just literally uses upper body strength to beat the cover off the ball. Interesting to see that too. You for all of the listeners out there who want to throw their legs at the target and get really leggy, Brooks is very upper body oriented when he swings the golf club. He's not super flexible. Now, we've got him on screen here behind us. He's got the big wide stance, the 100-degree shoulder turn, the nice wide arc because he's got so much strength in his shoulders and his lats. He looks like he's ready to crush that golf
Yeah,
ball.
and he gets the ball. He gets the club into excellent positions, and being a little more upper body focused on his downswing. That's why he hits a fade instead of Rory's draw on an average shot. But I mean, he's not just wailing at it. We see a lot of guys who have gorilla hit ball, slam their club down into the golf club. I mean, Brooks is as close to a pro gets as that, I guess. But you're right; it's very different than a lot of the traditional long hitters.
It's a little less. Flexible looking and just a little bit more strong looking. It's really good. I use the analogy a lot with car engines. There's a lot of ways to get to speed. You can have that torquey V8 muscle car Mustang type of thing. You can have that sleek, speedy, lighter car. You can have that bigger engine that gets the speed a different way, a V12, that's smooth acceleration. There's lots of ways to tune an engine, and there's lots of ways to hit a golf ball. And it's not his speed of rotation as much. It's not his flexibility as much. It's purely brute strength. And if you think about it, that's the best way to stabilize the club through the long rough.
Yes.
Which might explain, to a certain degree, he's so strong in the forearms and that the club doesn't twist as much.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a reason why he excels in the majors that have tougher rough. I'm not sure. Great mind, too. I mean, to come out and call your shot like he did. It was interesting. If some people called their shot like that, they'd get mocked or questioned or ridiculed, even by fellow players. Nobody did that with Brooks. Not one guy that I heard came out and said, well, you shouldn't say that. We'll just see who's better. Nobody. Which means they know he's the real deal. And Steve Williams was actually quoted, Tiger's old caddy, at saying that the only guy besides Tiger that the ball left the club face with this certain sound was Brooks Koepka. And he didn't say it this week. He said it quite a while ago. So clearly there's a lot of talent there.